Welcome back to the 11th standard or first PUC topics. So we shall start with this organic chemistry now. In this organic chemistry, the first topic is some basic concepts and techniques which are used in the organic chemistry. So first let us say what is meant by organic chemistry and organic compounds. Those compounds which contain exclusively the carbon atoms, and because of the catenation property of that carbon which can bind to one another in so many chains or ring structures, we have millions of organic compounds available. Earlier organic compounds were obtained only from the natural sources, organisms. That's why the name organic chemistry. But in the year 1863, when the person by name Euler, he synthesized the organic compound urea by heating ammonium cyanide, NH4ClO. Ammonium cyanide is an inorganic compound, but on heating we get this urea with the formula NH2CONH2. From then onwards, it was observed that organic compounds can also be synthesized in the laboratories. So that is the basic of that organic chemistry. So mainly the carbon compounds which contain various carbon-carbon ring structures or carbon-carbon chains, etc. they are named as the organic compounds, along with some other elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. The main element that is present in the organic compounds is the carbon. That's why these organic compounds are also named as the carbon compounds. So this is history about the organic compounds. But now let us see some basic concepts and techniques that are used in the organic chemistry. When we consider these organic compounds, when we obtain from either natural source or synthesized in the laboratories, they usually contaminated with the impurities. Any other substance present along with the compound that we want, that is considered as an impurity. So to remove such impurities and to get the compound in the pure form, we have various techniques, various methods that are available for the purification of the organic compounds. So in this first part of this basic concepts and techniques, we have this purification of organic compounds. Purification of organic compounds. Again, the method that is used for the purification of the organic compound depends on the nature of the organic compound as well as nature of the impurities. Assume that the given compound or the required compound in the pure form is a solid one. The other impurities are also solid, present along with the original compound. Then we can purify that solid by various methods. One such method is the crystallization method. In this crystallization method, when the compound is dissolved in hot solvent, if the compound is very much soluble in the hot compound to the larger extent and insoluble in the cold conditions, then such a compound can be purified by using this crystallization process. When we dissolve the compound in the solvent to the larger extent under the hot condition, on cooling we will get the crystals of the organic compound. The condition is the impurities should be highly soluble even in the cold solvent. For example, we consider this benzoic acid which can be purified by using this crystallization method. Benzoic acid. This benzoic acid is very much soluble in hot water but insoluble in cold water. So first we have to prepare the saturated solution of the benzoic acid in hot water. On cooling, the crystals of benzoic acid will separate. Assume that it contains some other solid impurities. For example, if benzoic acid is associated with the naphthalene as an impurity, when the mixture of this benzoic acid and naphthalene is added to the hot water, only benzoic acid dissolves in hot water, but naphthalene is insoluble. So this will remain insoluble, which can be separated. First, hot solution is filtered out. When the insoluble naphthalene will remain as the solid. From the hot solution, once you cool it, you will get the crystals of the benzoic acid. So this is one method that is called as the crystallization method. If two or more compounds are soluble in the same hot solvent, but if the crystallization takes place at different temperatures, then we can use one more method that is called as the fractional crystallization method. So this is one important technique that we can use for the purification. If the given compound is liquid, contains liquid mixture, so we can use this method called as the simple distillation method. Simple distillation method. In this simple distillation method, if two or more liquids differ in their boiling points, by 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. Then only we can separate them by means of this simple distillation method. Suppose you consider this ether. Ether boils at about 35 degrees Celsius. Then we have this toluene. If the toluene is considered, it is boiling at 111 degrees Celsius. The boiling point of ether and toluene are differing more than by 50 degrees Celsius. So such liquids can be separated by using simple distillation method. Or if this toluene is to be distilled, if it contains some other impurities, then the mixture is taken in a distillation flask. I will write the rough diagram for the distillation flask like this. This is the distillation flask containing a side tube like this. Here there is a bulb like this. So here we can keep a thermometer to maintain the or to know the temperature also. So this is the thermometer. Then we have this side tube either connected with the air cooled condenser or water cooled condenser. Suppose it is the liquid having the boiling point more than 100 degrees Celsius. We can use the air cooled condenser. If the temperature boiling point of the liquid is less than 100 degrees Celsius, then we have to cool by air cooled condenser. So this I will write both in the same diagram. First I will write this air cooled condenser. So this is fixed to the side tube with using a rubber cork. And whatever the liquid mixture that we have taken here, it is heated by using the Bunsen flame. Or we can use the heating elements also. When we heat this one, the liquid starts boiling and the vapors enter the side tube. The constant temperature recorded at the thermometer will indicate the boiling point of this particular liquid. Assume that we are taking this ether and toluene having 35 and 111 degrees Celsius. The first liquid which boils is having the lower boiling point. So this ether will distill out at 35 degrees Celsius. Assume that we are taking only this toluene containing some other impurities. When the temperature reaches 111 degrees Celsius, the toluene starts boiling. This is connected to a receiver here, wherein we collect the drops, that is liquid toluene. Since the boiling point of toluene is more than 100 degrees Celsius, we can use the air cooled condenser itself. So whatever the vapors that enter here, they will come down and air actually present in the atmosphere will cool that vapor, and that liquid is obtained by the condensation of the vapor. So this is a distillation process wherein the vapors enter the side tube and through the water air cooled condenser they will come out as the liquid. So distillation and condensation will take place. Assume that the liquid is having a boiling point lower than 100 degrees Celsius. So this is connected with a water cooled condenser like this. We have to use this water cooled condenser in which water is passed in the opposite direction like this. So this is water inlet, this is water outlet. Water is moving in this direction from bottom to top. The vapors are entering into this condensation tube in the opposite direction. So because of the water that is flowing in the outer jacket, that vapor will be cooled and condensed and we will get the liquid here. So this is the method called as the simple distillation method. If you want to separate the two liquids, they should have the minimum difference of 30 to 50 degrees Celsius as the boiling point. And one more condition is the liquid should not undergo decomposition at its boiling point. When you take this 100 toluene and distill at 111 degrees Celsius, it will not undergo any change in its structure. But if we use aniline, which is having a boiling point of 180 degrees Celsius, then when we heat this in by using a simple distillation tube, simple distillation method, at this boiling point, this aniline will undergo decomposition. It will produce some other compound, for example, benzoquinone. That's why we should, benzoquinone. That's why that kind of compound should not be separated or purified by using the simple distillation method. There is a different method available for this liquid which undergoes distillation decomposition at its boiling point. The next one is steam distillation. Steam distillation. This steam distillation is a method of distillation under reduced pressure. For example, when a liquid undergoes decomposition at its boiling point, for example, aniline boils at 180 degrees Celsius. But before undergoing boiling, before evaporation, it will undergo decomposition at its boiling point. That's why, to avoid that one, we can use this steam distillation method. In this steam distillation method, I will just write a small change in this one. We are using the same distillation flask. But here there is an inlet tube for the steam inlet. This is steam inlet. There is an outlet for this vapors. So this is steam. Okay. Instead of heating with a burner, we can just pass the steam. When steam goes into this tube, it gets condensed first. Because of that steam getting condensed into water, gradually the temperature of this liquid along with the vapor goes on increasing. At one particular point, the liquid starts boiling at a temperature lower than the boiling point of the pure liquid. So this is the principle. But with the steam, liquid evaporates. Liquid evaporates. And along with this steam, when the liquid evaporates, those mixture of vapors are passed through again either air cooled or water cooled condenser. Then we can collect the liquid separated from the water like this. If the liquid is having higher density, then we can collect liquid here and this is water. The principle used in the steam distillation is the liquid should be insoluble with the water. But that liquid should be steam volatilizable. It should evaporate along with the steam. And if the liquid undergoes decomposition at its boiling point, then we can use this steam distillation method for the purification of that particular liquid. Suppose you take this aniline boiling at 180 degrees Celsius. When you pass the steam, along with the steam that aniline vapors enter, here we use the principle of the definition of the boiling point. Boiling point is the temperature at which its vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. But here the total vapor pressure, because of the steam as well as the liquid, the total vapor pressure will be almost equal to atmospheric pressure at the lower temperature itself. That's why that liquid will evaporate. So we collect the liquid separated from the water. So by using separating funnel, we can separate the liquid and water. So this is the principle used in the steam distillation. For this steam distillation, we can use this steam distillation for the purification of nitrobenzene, orthonitrophenol, glycerine, also called as glycerol, which has a very high boiling point of about 453 Kelvin, around 190 degrees Celsius, 463 Kelvin. So which will boil at a very, very low temperature along with the steam. The boiling point will be almost less than 100 degrees Celsius. Then we can also use it for aniline, etc. So for all these liquids, we use the method of steam distillation. So this is one more method for the purification of the liquid when it undergoes decomposition at its boiling point. Some more methods I will explain in the next video. Thank you.